Hi, Joe. I don't know how to say that. It sounds like Brazilian or Argentinian. Anyway, yeah, we're doing live mini readings if you're interested. evening. It's TarotLumination. It's Sunday Night Live. As I promised, we'll be here to do a couple of little mini readings for anyone who's interested. We already got one booked in advance with Fluffles. Thank you so much, Fluffles. We'll get to that in a little bit. Right now it's very quiet. It's just you and me and João. I don't know how to say that. It sounds Brazilian, Argentina. I'm not sure. If you want to educate me, I'd be very grateful. So there you go. Right, so, okay, fair enough. So we're at this kind of point of critical mass, sort of like a tipping point with my channel, as you've probably noticed. I'm hardly on YouTube anymore, and so it's kind of having this vaporizing effect. I'm not quite sure how to describe it. I'm going to try and keep the channel, well, I am going to keep the channel open unless they officially shut me down. I don't know, but it's like one of those things. If you kind of got to keep doing it to keep doing it. And now that I'm focusing a lot more attention onto Rumble, it's taking attention away from here, YouTube, the YouTube audience that we've had for seven years, at least 7 years, going on 8 years now. So I feel kind of sad. I kind of apologize. We had 13,000 subscribers, and I don't have access to them anymore because of what has happened to the channel. I have retained about, I think it's about 30 active emails from folks. And in theory, I should, get out there and connect with everybody and say hi. But oftentimes, I either simply forget or I don't have the energy, and I just don't get around to it. Like, if you know that some of the really very professionally run websites they have and channels, they have very, very active promotion and marketing and bulk emails to all their members, subscribers, Patreons, and so on and so on. And so anyway, there we go. Let's have a look. So if anyone's out there and want to check in, please let me know. Fluffles. I don't want to just dive straight in yet. Just give me a few minutes, okay? It's like, jumping in a swimming pool that's a bit chilly. I don't want to just go kaboom. All right, so I wish I knew how to say your name. Anyway, cheers and welcome. I'm having a little cup of coffee here. There's an awful lot of stuff going on in the world, but I can't really talk about it much on this channel anymore, so I don't. And that's why things are so lean here. But I'm going to go to the charts anyway, just for a bit of lightweight, heavily censored edification of the information. So here we are today. I don't know if you noticed, but a couple of hours ago, Mr. DJT, number 47 they call him, or number 45 they call him. There was another assassination attempt on him 2 hours ago today, and I picked it up within about a half an hour of the assassination attempt, and it went worldwide on X within about an hour. That just shows you the power of modern day social media and why platforms that cherish freedom of speech are in such trouble right now because, as you know, how can I talk about any of this stuff here? It's really, really difficult. There's so many keywords I just can't use anymore here. I don't really know what to say or how to say it. But the ability for people to speak openly in truth has become a very, very big problem for people who wanted to control the world. They want to shut down people like myself, and they have become very effective. I've effectively been shut down here, and it makes me very angry. But we keep going. There's a few other channels that we've lost because they've had to go through the same thing. And some of the channels that I like are now so heavily, screened. They get so many warnings and deletions and demonetizations and deplatformings that it's hardly worth watching them anymore because the censorship is too extreme. But anyway, some of you may remember the glory days. It takes me about 40 minutes to an hour to set up to do the shows in the evening. Thank you, Fluffles. Whatever platform I'm on. And I have to tell you, I'm really enjoying Rumble. That's the other platform. I can breathe. I feel like I can breathe there. They are very, very supportive of my channel. They've given me a lot of support already. It is just another video streaming platform, but it seems to operate in a very different way in terms of navigation and the dashboard. Like an F-35 fighter jet looks very, very different from a Boeing 747. Even if you're a very advanced pilot, you have to go through tremendous amounts of training and learning. And that's what it kind of feels like over here. Over on my YouTube channel here, I can operate with 2 computers and 2 monitors and 5 different pieces of software. Over on Rumble, I do something similar, but I have to have 3 monitors. So it's a list. I'm growing into it. Let's call it growing pains. I'd be very happy. Hello, Love Triber. So let me go over to the chart again and get out of my own derriere and mention a few things we have here. So, excuse me, Mars in Cancer. Dash. Give me a second. I forgot to illustrate a couple of aspects with Mars. It's a little, Mars is kind of on its own just at the moment, but it has been very active, and it will continue to be very active. A while back on my Rumble, I was describing with Mars in Cancer. Mars in Cancer is very unhappy here. It indicates several different expressions of Mars. As you know, Mars represents the energy of the warrior, the fighter, getting done what has to be done. Shoot first, ask questions later. Defend yourself, protect yourself, attack if necessary in order to defend. Defense, offense. Okay, and so there's different ways that Mars can express itself. And when Mars is in Cancer, it's very unhappy, it's very uneasy, because it feels it's like not out there in the world doing what it wants to do and has to do to go and get and have and achieve. Mars represents Aries, the fire sign of self, going out there into the world, fighting to get done what has to be done and getting what you need. Like if you, for example, are a hunter-gatherer, that would be Mars in Aries type energy. But when you have Mars in Cancer, it's like the energy of the fighter and the warrior is brought into the home, into the foundations, inside the castle, inside the place of safety. And it's like a pent-up energy of I need to protect and defend, and it needs to be outside of the castle to do that. And so the energy can turn in on itself, and it can become abusive in its own home, so to speak. The other thing about Mars in Cancer, it can be very defensive if anyone or anything threatens the home. And right now, as you know, Cancer is the kind of the ruling energy of the United States. In the United States, we have Sun, Mercury, Jupiter, and Venus in Cancer. And so as Mars transits through Cancer, it's going to activate all of that Cancerian energy, and it's going to be very, very aggravating to basically this thing that we call America. And guess what? That's what we're seeing. Hello, Maria. Folks, just have to understand, Maria is probably the oldest surviving member of this channel since the very, very, very early days. Thank you so much, Maria, for the support all the years. Anyway, inside America, there's an extreme amount of violence going on inside America, inside the borders, inside our castle, inside our home, inside our families, inside our communities. You've seen that with some of the big news headlines recently for that place in Ohio and that place in Colorado. And you've probably heard some very, very shocking stories about all the people who are being extremely violent and dangerous are actually paid to do this by our own leaders. It's shocking, but that's how it works. I can talk about that a lot more when we do TarotLumination on Rumble, so don't forget about that. TarotLumination is now very much more active on Rumble. But anyway, we have all this other stuff going on. So if you look fairly closely, you might see it's a little bit vague, but I'll put it here. This is the big fat green triangle. Can you see that one here? I'll try and highlight it a bit better. Here, here, and here. That is it's all retrogrades. All these big outer planets are retrograde right now. And what's happening is that the global elites of the elites are under extreme duress right now, and so they are acting out very, 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 very nasty objectives, especially against the United States. Yeah, he's already been arrested. Thank you. It's amazing how that went to global headline news in 1 hour. We already knew that Mr. Donald was going to be targeted again and again and again. Now, in a very fleeting and very, very uncomfortable way, we do have another piece of beautiful sacred geometry, and it is another kite. I'll show you. You might be able to see it here. Let me see if I can point it out. Watch my pen. Here, 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 here. Can you see the kite shape? Inside that is the triangle over here, and inside here is the big fat fierce opposition. So kites are very opportunistic, very harmonious, powerful alignments of sacred geometry. It's very beneficial and healthy for these particular moments where the planets are lined up in this way. I'm not going to get into describing whether it's for you, Aquarius or Cancer or Scorpios. It's for the world. This chart is for the world, and these are the transits where the planets are zooming around right now, and that can happen anywhere in your chart, because your chart could be anywhere, you know, depending if you're a Libra, a Cancer, you know, a Capricorn, or whichever. So what I'm seeing with this particular kite, now remember it's moving very quickly because based on the sun, it's based on the moon over here. So within a matter of half a day, or at least a few hours, the moon is going to be over here, and this kite will break apart, astrologically speaking. But in the meantime, right now, right here, it's very tight Libra, Venus in Libra. So Venus is very much at home here, very happy. Venus in Libra loves harmony in relationships. It loathes disharmony and conflict in relationships. At the moment, it's not too hard a square, but Mars in Cancer, if you just take the sign in the house, Mars in Cancer is very uncomfortable for Venus in Libra. It indicates very toxic, very violent, unhealthy, aggressive activity inside our home and relationships. So what's happening in the United States right now? Home invasions. Very, very horrible things happening to many thousands of American homeowners and people who live in condos and apartments, and their lives are being turned upside down by violent people externally. Violent people who have no business being here, causing violence and turmoil and disrupting all the harmony in the home. So anyway, Venus is opposing Chiron in Aries. So Venus is very unhappy simply because it's in a state of opposition with Chiron in Aries. Chiron in Aries is saying very, very loudly here, I do not like having my sovereign rights in terms of my relationships with other people and other people with me disrupted. I don't like this at all. What we're noticing is that we the people, basically, especially in America, but it's all over the world, a lot of people are realizing that their sovereign nature, their sovereign self, their right to be themselves has been heavily abused, trashed, demolished, violated by some very, very ugly, nasty people represented by very unhealthy relationships with other people. Relationships that should be healthy, but we're discovering that they're very toxic. And a lot of that is, I consider it part of a journey of human evolution, where out of 8 billion people on this planet, there's probably about 1,000 or maybe 100,000 of them who actually own and operate and control everything. They are the plutocrats. They are the oligarchs. They are the people symbolized by Pluto in Capricorn, 27.5 degrees retrograde, and especially 29 degrees retrograde Capricorn. And we're seeing with Pluto retrograde 29 degrees Capricorn, we're seeing the very, very worst behavior of human beings when they are in positions of absolute power and money and control. What we discover and what we learn is that they become totally, utterly addicted, maniacally, obsessively addicted to power and money and control, to the point where nothing else matters anymore, and they are willing to destroy anything and everything that's beautiful about this amazing planet where we live. so that they can have what they consider is very most valuable, which is power and money and control over everybody else. For some reason, they're not satisfied, or they are so hollow. There's nothing that can fill that hollowness except more power, more money, and control. And that's very, very frightening. I would love to have lots of power and money and control in my own life, over my own life, okay? And in some ways I do, but in some ways a lot of it was stolen from me. And I carry tremendous anger and bitterness and resentment to this day. So I can relate very acutely with Chiron in Aries, opposed by Venus in Libra. I feel that Venus in Libra indicates the dynamic of relationships that are external to me. I'm talking personally right now, but this applies to everybody. Relationships that are external to me. Let's just make it, let's get a little more direct here, so that you can understand more what I'm talking about. Relationship. There's me. Consider this. Okay, here is my shared global energy of Chiron in Aries around 20 degrees. Fiercely opposed by Venus in Libra at around 20 degrees. And you're realizing it's a massive polarity. It's a very challenging polarity, where part of this is happening on the world stage, but inside America, where you get people who present themselves. I'm thinking of one person in particular. Her name begins with K. She's presenting herself as a very harmonious, loving, cheerful, big hugs to everybody kind of harmony-loving person. And she happens to have a Libra sun as well. And it is opposed by a moon in Aries. So she has an extremely powerful Libra-Aries opposition in her own astrology. And so we're seeing a very powerful Libra-Aries opposition in the world right now. And what it indicates to me is, despite my experience in life and my... Okay, so it looks like YouTube is shut down. What happened here? They shut me down. Oh. Okay. Am I back on? I'm still on. Okay. Well, that was very, very strange. All right. So, anyway, that's very, very nerve-wracking. I've never seen that happen before, where my whole browser was shut down. I didn't touch it. I've never seen that. So that makes me very, very, very uncomfortable. Hello, Electra Ray. I never left. Okay, I'm really very shaky at the moment. I've never seen this happen before, where my whole browser was just shut down. And then a little button came up in the middle. Tiny little button that came up in the middle of my screen, which said, like, you have the option to reload. And so I reloaded, and so I'm here. Thanks for checking in and keeping me posted, everybody. Anyway, we're still here. Oh man, this is nerve-wracking. So anyway, I'll try to keep it very, very... I'll try to keep it lightweight. What's happening to 8 billion people around the world is a lot of them are waking up and realizing there's something very unhealthy about fundamentally the fundamental nature of relationship and relationships that each person has with the world around them. And in order to have a functional, healthy, happy, hello, Soul Care by Blair. Hello, Soul Care by Blair. That's a cool name. And then you realize, you start to find out that some of these relationship dynamics are not worthy of our commitment. Why have we ended up in a position with humanity where Homo sapiens, by definition, we have to have society and relationships with other people? As much as you might want to, there are people who do it, and there are people in the United States who live totally off-grid. They are very, very solitary, singular individuals. They have charts that show it to be that way, and they'll go off and live in a forest, they'll build a shed, they'll live in a camper, make a tent. Way up in Canada, they'll come up there with their survival tools, and they will live off of hunting and gathering. And if they get sick, they get sick. If they die, they die. They sever themselves, and some people live that way. But in reality, it's actually very hard to live as a single individual. Most of society today lives in these concentrated things called cities, where we have very, very dense layers of relationships upon relationship upon relationship that a lot of times goes through a hierarchy, where we, the people, the common people hanging around, try and look for stability and order in our environment, and we trust in the hierarchy, and we give our energy freely and with trust to certain people who are in relationship with us, perhaps not directly, but through the matrix, so to speak, where the common theme is, hey, I'm from the GOVERNMENT, and I'm here to help you. Now, how can we sort this out? Just tell you what, the easy thing is just to give me a big chunk of your money, and I'll take care of all those things that you don't want to deal with. I will make sure the roads are running properly, and that there's safety and security, and there's electricity, and all those good things. Just trust me, believe in me, and give me a lot of your money, and I'll take care of that, okay? And millions of people are starting to realize it's actually not working very well, because we're giving so much of our energy condensed into the form of what we call currency, handing it over to these people, these other people, in trust, a trusting relationship dynamic, only to be betrayed. And it's very, very painful. Chiron in Aries symbolizes the energy of extreme pain, suffering, of a never-ending, bleeding, constantly oozing, bleeding wound of damage to the self, the sovereign self. And then to realize that, oh my God, we brought this on ourselves by trusting in these fundamental relationships that are so important to a healthy society, only to discover that a lot of these relationships are with entities and people that we fundamentally cannot trust, should not trust, and should never have trusted. And hence the betrayal becomes very acute. But at least we're aware of it. With the opposition, Venus opposite Chiron like that, even if it's just for a day, which is all it's going to be with the astrology because it's based around the moon, at least we have a glimpse. We can see very, very, very clearly. And it's a very frightening observation, but we need to see these things. We need to understand. You've got to reveal them to heal them. Hello, Victor! Yay! I love it when Victor shows up. It gives me a sense of stability and that there's a reason why we do all this stuff. So, let's just dive in quickly, have a look at the money world. So, as you know, a lot of you know, I've been talking about this for, 5 years or something. Uranus is in Taurus. The global financial system is under extreme stress and instability, and it's going to get much worse in a matter of months once Uranus gets over into the 29-degree mark over here. Somebody wants me to explain that. Oh, okay, all right, okay. Thanks for good reminder. Oh, hey, Soul Care by Blair, number 1. Okay, sorry. Thank you so much. Hold on, everybody. Wait a second. Let me do this. Number 1, do not do Super Chat. Do not touch the Super Chat button. The money will go into a black hole. It will end up belonging to GOOGLE, YOUTUBE, and I will never see a penny. Okay? So if you want to donate, you want to get a mini reading, a couple of ways you can do it. If you already have your own PayPal and are used to doing PayPal, you can do it directly to my email. I will show you in a minute. Or you can do it sort of like online shopping, okay? So if you want to, on a different device or tab or window, you can go to TarotLumination.com, like on the screen here. Go to the donate page, go to the donate button, click the donate button. It will open up the payment processor, and it's just like online shopping. You enter your card details, enter your donation. You don't have to do PayPal itself. You can just scroll down and choose the card option and put your Visa or MasterCard and enter the very, very basic minimum, and it will send your donation over here. So that's how that works. I hope my explanation helped you. So thanks for the reminder, Fluffles. Yeah, you got to reveal it to heal it. So over here, this is my email address, if you can see it. If you want, some people have direct PayPal accounts already. My email is alittlebookabout@yahoo.com. A little book about. I was going to write a novel. A little book about @yahoo.com. Okay? So that's how that works, and you can put your donation in that way. The more the merrier. All right, so I don't know about Apple Pay. I don't know anything about that, or Google Pay. I don't know anything about those apps, or Cash App. I don't have Cash App. All I have is PayPal. But again, you don't even need to have PayPal to do the donation, so you just have to have your own debit or credit card. So let me go back, because Victor's here, and I want to touch a bit on the finances. Yeah, like donation for a mini reading. Yeah, I do live mini readings. You can donate just for the hell of it if you want. I would love to have monthly memberships on Rumble. I'll tell you about that in a little bit. But Victor's here, and we know he's very interested in finance. I also know that Fluffles is interested in finance. But anyway, so right now, we're heading into an eclipse, okay? Today's the 15th, and on the 17th, we have an eclipse. So the sun is going to be in Virgo, and the moon is going to be in Pisces. This is going to be really lit up over here. It's pretty harmonious towards the Uranus and Taurus stuff, so I'm not stressed about that. What I'm stressed is about Uranus and Taurus itself. It's in very challenging conditions right now itself. Even though it has all these harmonious aspects with Pluto and Neptune. There's still tremendous instability, fraud, deception, betrayal inside the global financial system. And you're going to see that later this week. Okay, so let me try to describe that. Okay. Let me try to describe that. Oh, hold on. I just got another donation coming in here. Let me put this on the pad before I get it. Before I forget it, we got to do a magic post-it note for. Okay, here we go. So we got 2 bookings tonight so far. We got one for Fluffles. We got one for Love Triber. We'll see if anyone shows up. I got room for one more. So anyway, Victor, back to Victor. Let's go to the calendar here. We're in the eclipse orb right now. This I put this in orange because this is representing the eclipse here. So the sun is going to be in Virgo, the moon is going to be in Pisces, and the day afterwards, Jerome Powell of the United States Federal Reserve banking system, he is the chairman, he's the head honcho boss guy there, he's going to be making some announcements. And those announcements go out to the whole world. Every single central bank chairman across the world, there's about 150 central banks for all the other countries. They are going to be watching very, very carefully, listening very, very carefully. Jerome Powell, it's anticipated that Jerome Powell is going to announce that the Federal Reserve Bank is going to apparently lower the interest rates. So that's going to trigger some waves across the whole world, the whole global financial system, for better or worse, depending on who you are, whether you care or not. It will have an impact. A couple of things that are in flux right now are the number of really, really deceptive lies and fraud and storylines that are coming out about the American economy and how great it is. I'm sorry, but things are in very, very deep trouble. It sounds like, oh, great news. Jerome is going to lower interest rates. Yoo-hoo! And true, that can help to stimulate, but it's like a fake stimulation. These rates are already low as it is. Despite what people think, we've been scammed for years now with super low, almost zero interest rates, which is actually very, very destructive over the long term. It gives people an illusion that money is cheap, you can borrow and spend and splurge without consequence. What it is a massive time bomb. And the time bomb is, it's going to go off. It'll be a slow burn time bomb, but it will go off. When you raise interest rates, you raise the cost of money, and you more accurately represent the risk involved with borrowing money. The borrower takes on a risk, and the lender takes on a risk. Both parties assume risk. When you drop the interest rates really low, it's telling both sides, don't worry about the risks. Nothing can go wrong. And people go on these debt binge orgies of borrowing and lending. It's catastrophic. So, the reason they raised interest rates is because inflation is raging. Okay? Inflation is when they print so much money that the currency debases itself, because it just means more and more and more and more and more dollars chasing the same finite object. In other words, the value of your dollar goes down while the numerical amount of the value goes up in terms of the house price, for example. Like a couple of years ago, a $280,000 house has now got a sticker price of about $380,000. That's insane inflation. There's no difference in the house. It's a little bit older. The roof is dustier and dirtier. Maybe the locks don't work so well, but it's the same house. And in a matter of 2 or 3 years, how could that house go from $280,000 to $380,000? Printing money. It's very, very destructive. It's actually a mechanism for vacuuming up human energy in the form of value. It goes to the elites at the very, very tippity top of the global financial elite at our expense. It's a mechanism to harvest your energy. They know that. They play the game all day, every day. And we, the people, suffer accordingly, or we think we get conditioned to go with it. So in other words, oh, you've got to have a really good credit score. How are you going to get a really good credit score? Well, you have to buy a car on credit. You have to get a mortgage. You have to get a college loan. You have to take out credit cards and go on vacations and cruises and buy toys and gadgets and go to casinos and splurge on fashion and so on and so on. And then you can boost your credit score and you can buy more. You can get more and more credit. And the whole idea is to turn you into a debt cow so that they effectively, for every dollar that you borrow, you pay back 30% more. How is that healthy? Anyway, so I'm getting stuck in the mud here. So on Tuesday, Jerome is going to announce, people are anticipating he's going to announce a reduction in the interest rates. And some people are going to go, whoopee! And they're going to splurge on borrowing and spending, okay? To me, that's not good. The reality is, they're dropping the rates because they're desperate. They're trying to jack up and force the American population to spend and borrow. Spend, borrow, spend, borrow. Borrow, 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 spend. To try and juice the economy and make it look like it's doing well. But it's not working. Imagine you are a cow, a debt cow, and you have been squashed into your cage for your whole life, and you have been milked for your whole life to the point where you're falling over. You can't produce any more milk, and you're just going to fall over and die. That's where they're taking you. So, with the lowering of the interest rates, it's going to hurt some people, it's going to help some people. And there's going to be market gyrations, for better or worse, up or down. The lower interest rates is going to juice the stock market. So because there is quantitative easing or printing going on anyway behind the scenes that we're not being told about, it's going on very, very aggressively. The Federal Reserve Bank is buying up all the big monster, horrific, toxic debts from the big top banks to make them more stable and more safe. And they're starting to do it with the mid-level banks, but eventually things are going to fail because of the commercial real estate market implosions. So, in other words, the Fed is trying to avoid the inevitable. But anyway, once the Fed lowers the rates, then every other country in the world is going to have to lower their rates, otherwise they lose parity with the United States dollar. It's a war. World War III, I believe, is mostly conducted through the foreign exchange currency markets, FX. Foreign exchange, as one country tries to outdo the other. But anyway, with the eclipse, remember with an eclipse, what is being eclipsed? My feeling is what is being eclipsed is American sovereignty, American independence, American wealth is being eclipsed out of its existence, where we, the American people, we the people, have been taken to the point as debt cows, or where we have been harvested to the bone, where, I mean, you see what happens to like factory farming, factory cows, industrial farming for industrial cows, when they are fed with too much corn, too many chemicals, they're over milked, they're over harvested, and the cows can't cope. They're very, very sick animals, and they don't even know they're cows anymore because they live in cages and boxes, and then they go to feedlots, the CAFOs, and even while they're young, they are fed up and packed up, and then they are harvested for their energy, which equals meat. And that's exactly what the Fed does to us. That's what the banks do to us. And my feeling is there's not much left that can be harvested. So sorry, I can't read that. I don't know what that says. So anyway, let's just pay attention. I'm not going to do anything. I follow a few people. There are some amazing opportunities that are going to go open up for people who know how to ride these markets, these waves. Some people are going to watch the charts very, very carefully for an opportunity to buy commodities or certain stocks. The ones that I've learned about in particular are gold, Bitcoin, and JEPQ. Gold, Bitcoin, and JEPQ. There are other people who talk about, mining stocks for gold miners, places like that. But I can't play those markets anyway, so I don't. But anyway, there's an expression, keep your powder dry. Some people are anticipating so much instability that they're just pulling money out of the banks. Some people have multiple bank accounts to protect their money. Even some of these really big banks are at risk. Bank of America and Wells Fargo are very much at risk. There are really good people who are indicating that possibly one of the safest places, if you've got to put money somewhere, if you have to have a bank account, you can use credit unions in America, because they are non-profit organizations and they have much stricter controls on the amount of risk that they can do or carry inside their business. And they are there simply to serve their community, to serve their clients. They're not allowed to take all your money and do massive off-market gambling and betting. Okay? Anyway, let's get on with the mini readings here. I don't want to talk anymore because I'll just get myself into trouble. Okay? So let's have a look. There's some notes here. Sam, what might be her true intention? Does she want to reconcile with me? Okay. Alright, okay. Thanks for... Hey, Necessary, I didn't see you arrive there. Hi. I've heard that expression. Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? That's what the Federal Reserve does. They get the milk for free. Yeah. Alright. So, we got a couple of readings. Fluffles does not want to go first. So we're going to read for Love Triber first. Okay, everybody? So brace yourselves. Might want to get comfortable. If you're new here, you've never done this before, you can just kind of observe and see if you want to participate in the future. Alright, let's have a look. Give me a second here. I've got to do some shuffling to get organized so we can actually do this. Alrighty. So, let's tidy up the stage so we can get to work. What I'm going to do is play some... I'm just going to... Let's see. Alright. Okay, so we got to tidy up here. We got to get the cards out and shuffle accordingly. Let's have a look. Wow. I gotta tell you, there's some weird stuff going on over here. I don't know how to describe. I've never seen stuff like weird things with the browser going doink, 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 doink. And then it's like somebody just belched through the sound system or something. I have no idea what it was. It was like something is going. Anyway, I just saw a note there. It says, Stephanie, I'm your new subscriber. Okay, well, Stephanie, while you're here on TarotLumination on this platform, please go, as soon as the show's over, whenever you got a chance, go to Rumble, RUMBLE.com. I probably shouldn't have even said the word, but anyway, RUMBLE.com, and look for TarotLumination with the blue dot, and become a member, subscriber, follow, however that works. I'm still learning. Okay. Maromar, hello. This is all we do, mini readings by donation. Okay, so mini readings by donation. I've already got 2 readings booked for tonight. I can probably handle 1 more if anyone's interested. If anyone wants to donate, you go over to TarotLumination.com on some device, and like a tablet or a phone or another tab or something. Go to the donate page, click the donate button, swipe your card, put in a huge donation, and you get a mini reading live in front of everybody else if you can handle it. Yay. It says here, you are a Libra born, Marwa. Marwa. Okie dokie. Here we go. Yeah. Oh boy. Alright, so we're going to start with our first reading of the evening. Cards are well shuffled. In case you've never been here, done this before, all my spreads are custom built. I only have really 3 spreads. My situational spread, and I have 2 other spreads that I use, which is love and relationships. I reserve those for private readings, and also your heart and soul journey through life. I do those in private readings. But here tonight, we use my little mini spread. I call it my situational spread. It's literally a diagnostic tool, and it helps us to reveal things, to heal things, okay? I use this, of course, in personal private readings as well, usually as a starter. Also, now that we're talking, if people want to do private readings, if you want to go deep diving, it really helps to do the astrology, and that's why the readings are expensive. They should probably be a lot more expensive. I've been directed to increase my prices, but for now they're still at the fixed price at TarotLumination.com. And if you give me your astrology data in advance, like your birthday, your time of day of birth, and your location, I can do a few hours of preparation in advance of your reading. Okay? And by the way, so that everybody knows while you're here, if you look at the screen in the chats, Necessary Truth is a professional psychic medium, and Love Triber is also a reader. So we are in good company here, everybody. Maromar and Steph, you're in good company. All right? Never fear. Okay, so cards are well shuffled. I don't do reversals. I'm not doing oracles tonight or anything like that. Very, very simple. And let's have a look. What kind of messages do we have here for Love Triber tonight? What kind of divine messages are going to be revealed that we can't normally access through just day-to-day conversations with our doctors, our friends and family, and so on? Typically, this is what helps us to look beyond the veil. Just imagine you've got a car, it's not working properly, the dashboard lights are blinking, flashing orange, red, whatever, yellow. Oh no, oh no, oh no. You take it to the technician, they plug in the black box, which is this thing, and they diagnose your vehicle and they say, oh my gosh, you've got a screwed up catalytic converter. There you go. But you would never have known unless you had the diagnostics. There you go. So Love Tribe, you're up. Here we go. Kaboom. What kind of messages do we have for Love Triber tonight? So everybody knows, who's already here before many times, invite your invisible friends. Get yourself very cozy and comfortable, as close as possible with your invisible friends. That's what I do over here. It just helps to amplify the meaning and the value and the integrity and, let's say, the coherence of the reading. Okay, here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle things. And let's have a look on the underneath here. Just look at external influences. Usually default to the planets, of course, but let's have a look anyway. So we've got the 8 of Swords here. So this would be an indication that with the planets the way they are aligned right now, very, very specifically, it's like being in a maze. You know those things like a maze? How can I describe it? A maze. I'm not saying the word amaze. I'm talking about a maze. You know those things I used to see them in England a lot. These very formal gardens with these big hedges and bushes. And you walk through a gate and you wander around and round and round through these pathways inside a maze, hopefully to come out the other side. And it's fun, it's exciting, it's scary because you get lost inside the maze. And if you look at the maze from the sky, if you have a drone and you look down on the maze, you can see that there's lots of dead ends and dangerous pathways and obstructions and speed bumps and orange cones and road blockages all over the place. And you still have to go forward because life is always about moving forward, even though sometimes you have to reverse backwards to get to the point where you might have screwed up earlier and realize, oops, oh no. I took a left turn back there when I should have taken a right turn. So you have to go all the way back and start all over again. So it gets very complicated. And so that's what I see with the ace, with the 8 of Swords. It's like being in a maze situation where you know you have to live your life going forward. But sometimes there are so many distractions, impediments, things that are obscure, confusing, that can delay or obstruct just a general, healthy, straightforward path, that it feels a little bit scary. And it feels like there's no one there to help you. But you have to go forward anyway. And you get to the point where the best thing you can do is trust your intuition and know that you are guided and protected anyway. Okay? So it doesn't have to be too scary. It's just understanding and accepting the complexity of life and the world around you so that you're not overwhelmed, and instead just imagine you're some kind of like fighter pilot or something where you have to go through, so you know you're entering some turbulence and you realize like the best thing you can do is at some point is you have to trust your deepest instincts, almost like close your eyes and go through. Okay? Like Tom, you remember the movie, what was it, that epic fighter jet movie with Tom Cruise last year? And he was telling all his student fighter pilots, like, guys, you gotta guys, if you want to be successful, if you really, really want to do this, don't think, just do. Trust that you have the skills, the instincts, the extra psychic vision. You have that built into you. Okay, so trust it. When you need it, it's there for you. Okay. All right, let's move on. All right, what's the situation itself? Oh, boy. So with the Ace of Swords, we can actually look at this Eight of Swords as a kind of like a situation of opportunity, where there's a lot that can be learned by navigating through these very challenging times. In other words, it's almost like an opportunity for education, for, let's say, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's a way to refine your skills. Hey, I see that Maverick. Okay, Tom Cruise played the role of Maverick. What was the name of the movie? Anyway, so thank you, I understand it. So with the Ace of Swords here, what you can do is you can look at the environment and all these tremendous challenges, okay? In other words, all of this, okay, which translates from all of this. This looks very scary, and it is. We're going through extreme turbulence right now, astrologically, extreme turbulence, and we're heading right into another point of, it's just like when you go to the Weather Channel and they're telling you for days or weeks in advance, we're heading into a huge storm. Well, that's kind of what this is here. We had the eclipse back there almost 2 weeks ago. That was the full moon eclipse, and now we're over here at a new moon. Sorry. Yeah, this, sorry, excuse me, I want to, this is a full moon eclipse, okay, so this is a culmination over here. This was a new moon eclipse, new starts and new beginnings, and you can now see this as like, oh, this is an opportunity. Now I can see this is a chance for me to refine my skills, my abilities to navigate at a higher level, at higher skill levels, where you have access to more knowledge, more information, more wisdom, more acuity, more awareness of your surroundings in such a way that this actually kind of becomes like your like it's almost like tuning into, okay, hold on, give me a second. Yeah, you know you have the pituitary gland in here, and the amygdala, and your second brain, your second heart, and all that kind of stuff, and your intuition. But a lot of the times where we feel that is on the prefrontal cortex, right here. So what I'm feeling is that for you, Love Triber, with the Ace of Swords, it's this, what's actually happening is that you're going to learn that your skill set, your ability to refine the way you operate is improving. In other words, the mystical energy of the pituitary and the amygdala, which is like your connection to the divine, that is becoming more finely tuned so that it can project more and more clearly on the prefrontal cortex, so you become more and more skilled, effectively like being a fighter pilot, where you can almost close your eyes and trust yourself to go into the vortex rather than having to rely on three-dimensional instruments the whole time. There's only so much that the instruments can do. At a certain point, you have to become one with your whole being, like Maverick with his F-18, And so the information that you're receiving through divine ordinance, through the pituitary and the amygdala, is becoming more clear and precise in the prefrontal cortex. You can actually see it more clearly, almost better if you close your eyes. Okay, so that's what I'm sensing here. An increasingly precise ability to discern truth and facts and reality while being surrounded by tremendously, let's say, precarious conditions, information. Okay, now what are the challenges here? Of course, there's always challenges here. Okay, so how do you navigate through this without taking it personally in such a way as though all of this is symbolic of people and entities that are trying to attack you and take you down? How do you get through it and navigate in such a way that, it's nothing personal. You might feel it inside of you very, very strongly that all these external hazards are trying to destroy you. And maybe in some way they are. And destroying your ability to be loving, destroying your ability to absorb and carry love and then bring love forward, be loving. In other words, you know what that expression I like to use, be loving, be loved. And with all this conflict, external conflict outside in the external world, and having to improve your skills in terms of navigating and seeing this as an amazing opportunity to refine and realizing, oh my God, I'm getting really good at this stuff. The challenge inside is like, am I being stripped of my ability to be loving because I've become so exposed to the hideous truth of reality? And what's the point in being loving and spreading my loving energy and my light and my compassion if it just goes down a drain, or if it just ends up in a state of conflict and there's no benefit? What's the point? What's the point? What's the point in being loving and being compassionate and caring when you've got all this horrible stuff going on? And there's this realizing, well, you got to be loving anyway, like Jesus when Jesus came to visit me a week or two ago. So anyway, how do you proceed with that? This could feel like bitterness inside, like, what's the point? What's the point in being loving? What's the point in bringing love to this earth when it just gets squandered, abused, neglected, stolen? Let's move on. How are we going to live through this? Well, somebody's got to do it. This is the Aquarius energy. Someone has to be the bearer of hope. And hope is the energy of belief in something beautiful, divine, and sacred when there's no evidence to support that. Somebody has to do it. The water bearer for humanity, for Homo sapiens. Someone has to do it. Like it or not, you've been born to be this character as someone who has to carry forward symbolically the healing power of love. Be loving, be loved. Even though there's really sometimes it feels futile and hopeless. Someone still has to do it. Someone still has to be the shining light, the shining star, the guiding light, the guiding star, the northern star that indicates hope for others. Someone's got to do it. All right, I hope that makes sense, Love Triber. Thank you so much. Next up, we got Fluffles. Let's have a look here. Now I got to shuffle up. So let's have a look here. Got to shuffle. All right, so I'm going to give me a second, folks. Oh boy. Okay. All right, dear people. I don't know if you noticed anything, but the same thing just happened here. My browser was shut down. I don't know why. There you are. It's better now, isn't it? There we go. All right, Fluffles, we should be good. All right, let's do this. Thank you so much for being here, by the way, everybody. I know who you're calling in. Necessary Truth. I can see that up there. I see your note up there in the chat. Thank you so much. So, just, okay, thank you very much for letting me know. Thank you, Necessary. It's very, very unsettling here. I don't know how, I've never had that experience before. It's giving me palpitations, frankly, making me very, very anxious. All right, here we go. Now, I got to put a reminder about something here. After we finish Fluffle's reading, let's see. I'm putting a note to myself here because I've got to share this with you as a story. Okay, everybody. Once we finished over here with Fluffles. All right, Fluffles, cards are well shuffled in advance. I'm going to go for a little bit more so that you are very aware that you've got a nice, clean, pristine deck. You know the routine. Invite your invisible friends and allow yourself to be as open as you can. However you do that, it's up to you. It might have been the internet, but right now the signal is showing like all my systems are very green and good and healthy. In other words, what I'm transmitting outwards is good. And there's no reason, like I've never seen it happen before when a browser is shut down. And then I have to reboot a whole browser. It doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, it seems to have recovered itself. It might be something to do with the platform, YT or GOOGLE. We'll know. Anyway, so let's not get distracted by all that nuisance stuff. Fluffles, what kind of message do we have here for you tonight regarding work money? So this is a consistent theme because you already know what it's like to be successful in work and career and to be rewarded accordingly. But we also know, because if everybody's not aware, Fluffles has been here for quite some time, and there's been some disruptions. I mean, there's been a lot of disruptions for everybody. If you look at the astrology over the last few years, it's very intense, it's very extreme right now, and it's going to be this way at least for the next 1.5 to 2 years. So it's, again, we have to learn how to navigate. But at least in advance, like with this channel, with TarotLumination, you get a little bit of a heads up, okay, for what you're dealing with astrologically. It just makes it a little safer and easier to navigate your life. Okay, same thing, situational spread. What's the situation? You got to reveal it to heal it. So what kind of messages do we have here tonight for Fluffles regarding the subjects of work and money? Okay, here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle things. And let's have a look at external influences. We got the Chariot here. So my feeling is that this could actually feel very, very frustrating, because the Chariot energy is all about grabbing the reins of life and taking charge of your own destiny and making it happen, setting off on the journey, and basically like corralling the energy of what is around you for your best life. In simplistic terms, let's say you've got, this chariot here. It's important for this to work that your horses are in very good condition. The chariot's in good condition, all the joints, the axles, the reins and the controls, the suspension are all in good condition, and yet you have a very strong sense of harmony between yourself and the energy fields represented by the horses to draw life moving forward. So, okay, give me a second here. Give me a second. So with the chariot, to me it feels like it's got several layers to this, the energy, where like you already know this, because you already know what it's like to be in command of your life, to steer your life, to be in charge, be the boss of your life in your world with career and money and all of that good stuff. How to behave accordingly in business and with clients, provide excellent service and be rewarded accordingly. And over the years working together, you've had to kind of reboot and restart, and it's kind of like being a bit sporadic, like trying to start a car that's got difficulties, like why is it uneven? And that's still the case here. And so what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling is that the chariot is telling you is that, like, you yourself, you're okay. You're fine at being fluffles. You're already in tune with who you are, but it's more to do with understanding the external resources that are out there. By resources, I'm being very broad here, like the energy fields of what's out there and the landscape of what's out there and what is available to you that you can, let's say, it's almost like it's not really teamwork, but getting everything to work properly for yourself, where, let's say, okay, let me be really much more simplistic and blunt here. Let's just say the chariot and the sphinxes and the horses that draw the chariot represent the energy that's out there and available to you that needs to be correlated very strongly with your own natural energy in such a way that it's harmonious, so that when you psychically, emotionally decide, okay, it's time to move forward, I have to do this today, I have to do that today, I have to make the best of the day, the energy that's out there. And sometimes it's hard to do that. Sometimes it's very, very hard to do that. In terms of the astrology, as you know, we've had some extremely challenging aspects. Some of the most difficult part is to let's just say, like, make the best of a bad situation. Like, for example, really obvious example, we talked about this gentleman earlier on this evening. Someone was pointing weapons in his direction, and this fellow, very famous person, was protected by his bodyguards, and he survived, and the bad person was caught and arrested. And this fellow, as you know, he's very wealthy, he's very famous, very successful, and he's doing a very, very difficult job, like being in charge of this chariot, where there's this tremendously powerful and disparate energy out there. There's the energy of loving and being loved, and there's this equally opposed energy of just the opposite, and sometimes they pull against each other. And it's a very very hard job to do. If you see what's happening with this fellow DJ T, how do you corral this beautiful energy of the USA and turn it into something healthy again, where inside the USA there's a tremendous love and resource. There's still tremendous capacity to love and be loved in the traditional American way, but part of it has gone astray. And I think light and dark, like it's pulling America apart. The energy is inside, but it's pulling. They're working at odds. It's very, very, very hard to control that energy. Another way, I don't know how else to describe it. I'm simply just on the very first card here. I like cars. I like engines and motors. I've been into it since I was a little child. I used to take engines and cars apart and rebuild them to make them better. Racing motorcycles and things like that. And I still do it today, trying to keep a car going. You know, it's sometimes very difficult. One of the things I used to have a motorcycle collection. I had one very big, very powerful motorcycle, and I loved to keep it perfectly in tune, so that when you are, let's see, the motorcycle is my chariot and you're riding in it, when it's perfectly in tune, it is exquisite. The engine purrs. It releases vast amounts of power on command. Okay. But the way this engine is built, it's very sensitive. And if it is not perfectly in tune, it will stutter and jiggle and shake. It's like a dragster. Have you ever seen dragsters? Those huge, very, very, very long cars that go extremely fast for about 30 seconds. Those engines are very, very, very highly tuned to put out tremendous power according to what's needed. But when they're out of tune, they're like, but when they're in tune, it's beautiful. And so it's very, very hard to keep things in tune. You are a person, you already know what it's like to be in tune. You have a lot of power. You have a lot of ability. With great power comes great responsibility. So my feeling is that you're one of these people that has unwittingly, externally, become out of tune. And part of that is internal, part of that is external. And how do you refine that and get back into what it's like to be Fluffles tuned up? Okay, so let's have a look. Let's keep going. Sorry, I don't want to scare you or confuse you, okay? Okay. Okay, let me just check your notes here. You just put a lot of notes. I didn't see them. I always see the chariot as duality, both dark and light. And need to work together? Yes, absolutely. It could easily pull offside, yep. Right, you've lost some of your will, but you need to stay up and not sure how. I don't want to feel defeated. It's hard to get going again, frankly. Yes, it's always hard, especially like if you think of yourself as a vehicle and you're in charge of your vehicle and it's sputtering. It's not in tune. Things are not, it's like when the alignment isn't right on your car, it steers to the left when you want to go to the right. Or it steers to the right when you want to go left. Or when you accelerate, it sputters and goes, or the transmission is shot and it's not working. So yes, I'm behind, but yes, resources. Like chamber events and working with CPAs, attorneys, etc., that would mutually refer business back and forth. But I feel stuck and can't find my fight to get going. There it is. It's almost just like you're not defeated, but like you said, sometimes it's hard to find the fight, the warrior inside you. So let me just remind you earlier from tonight. This relationship is very, very fragile right now, and people are realizing, like yourself, that in order for you to be very healthy and functional, you have to have very healthy, happy, harmonious, functional relationships with your associates. Otherwise, you can't do business. And when that's not working properly, as we are seeing here, it makes you feel very uneasy, very unstable, like you've lost a lot of your power, like your energy, your fight. Aries, the will to fight, the will to live, to do what has to be done. It's very, very difficult. This is what's happening for a lot of people. A lot of people, billions of people across the world right now, are suffering as though their natural right to life has been siphoned away from them. And it's just not fair. Where do you get your energy from after it's been siphoned away for so long? All right, let's move on. Situation. Okay. So with the Two of Swords here, the situation is that my feeling is that you probably know this already, that there's a lot of things that you can't figure out with three-dimensional tools. There's no point in trying to look at your world, your landscape, your work environment, your financial environment in simplistic three-dimensional perspectives. It's almost sort of like the previous reading, where ultimately you're going to have to tune into the divine. If you think of this as your radar antenna, and you deliberately blindfold yourself so that you're not distracted by the very powerful three-dimensional senses like sight, sound, taste, touch, and feel, and instead you tuning in to what is coming to you from the divine through your pituitary gland. So there's, in other words, divine inspiration, divine guidance, and then singing that song to yourself, I am guided, I am protected. I am guided, I am protected. And then deliberately invoking divine guidance, divine protection. In other words, this has to be done deliberately. Trusting your intuition. Sometimes it's very, very hard to do. Sometimes if we've been damaged or hurt, we're scared to trust our intuition, and we want very blunt, simple, three-dimensional affirmations that you're on path. But if that's not working and things are stuttering and unstable, what else? There's nothing left. You've got to go for divine intuition, divine guidance. Okay, what's the challenge here? Look at that, Eight of Swords from earlier. Okay, so with the Eight of Swords, to me this is an indication that you are acutely aware that there's tremendous obstacles that feel like a maze. How do you navigate through this maze when you don't have a map? No one ever gave you a map for how to navigate through this freaking maze. So what do? You can either just give up and stay stranded, locked, paralyzed in fear, like, I can't take it anymore. I just can't take it anymore. The thing is, by, succumbing to your fear, you know that you have basically acknowledged that all these scary, challenging events, actually let me use my other charts, the ephemeris, you're admitting that this has taken control of your life. Now some people, it's very extreme. There are people who will have complete psychic, emotional breakdowns during this period. They will feel like they're going insane. They will give up on life. They will utterly collapse. Their lives will implode. The good things will be eclipsed out of their lives. the Pisces Virgo axis can be very scary. Hello, another visitor, Faustina Cormany. There is no reason to live. People of God and Jesus makes it impossible to live happy life. I've never heard that language before. All right, so moving forward, this is a very understandable fear. I get you. I get you. So, how are we going to deal with this moving forward? Okay. You can simplify things and basically kind of look in the mirror and remind yourself, okay, I'm Fluffles. Screw all this stuff. I know exactly what's going on. I now fully understand what TarotLumination is talking about. And I now understand that I do not have to be a victim. I can be scared. I can understand that I am challenged. I can be frightened. I can almost feel paralyzed in fear. But I already know about divine intuition. I know that can happen. And the way that translates into day-to-day life working forward is you just literally have to move forward, wake up and look in the mirror, and it's like the pain, okay, it's the pain of Chiron over here. Now this is universal. I'm not saying this is your chart or anything. I'm just saying this is an extremely painful trigger point in everybody's chart right now. Wherever this lies in your chart, there is a lot of pain, okay? So once you realize and you accept it, oh, well, this is circumstantial. Okay, in other words, I don't have to take this personally and end up leaving myself paralyzed in fear. I can understand that this is a universal wound. It's the wound of the sovereign self that's been destroyed and damaged, okay? And you still have to fight the good fight and keep going, and you realize, wow, I'm actually still here. Yes, there are infinite challenges around me, but I can handle it. I know I can handle it, but maybe one thing at a time. Hold on, let me wrap this up in this way. Let me go over here a second. So, with the Seven of Wands going forward, to me it feels like it's a realization that because you're already skilled, you already have a proven track record, you already know what it's like to win, to succeed, to be financially well rewarded for services rendered. Okay? You already have that. It's part of your DNA. It's built into you. But you're in a challenging environment right now. The United States stock market is very, very challenged. The Federal Reserve is challenged. A lot of huge corporations and banks are very, very heavily challenged right now. There are millions of Americans that are heavily challenged right now with work and money. So it's a very universal, it's not universal, but it is a universal theme. And a lot of Americans are suffering right now, and it's very scary for some worse than others. At least you understand your environment. And with the Wands energy, it's sort of like relating to Mars, but you don't want to tune into the unhealthy aspects of Mars. It's like owning the energy of Mars, but in a healthy way. In other words, when you're in those events, working with CPAs, attorneys, and building mutually beneficial relationships, the true energy of Venus in Libra, when it's in harmony, in true harmony, that environment is there. Those people are there, and if you really want to go into it, they need you as much as you need them. And a lot of them are probably suffering as much as you are. There are, imagine you're a CPA and you're an accountant and stuff, and all these companies are going broke around you Where are all your clients going to come from? How are you going to do the CPA and the accounting for companies that aren't there anymore? And how are these attorneys and brokers and borrowers and lenders, how are they going to function if the the clients aren't there anymore? And so you have to start to look to each other for mutual support, like a mutual support system. So it's good that you're there. It might, okay, I just had this sort of little mini inspirational thing. I'm not saying do this, but what I'm suggesting is that because you have to have mutually beneficial relationships in business in order to get along, you have to have that. If you're in an environment where your peers, like the CPAs, the attorneys, the brokers and all of that, they're trying to carry themselves with bravado and dignity as though everything's just fine, I'm great, I'm successful, but when in reality, they're probably in some ways, some of them probably are suffering as much as you are. It might be an idea to like very gently break open the subject of, well, hey, listen, let's be honest about this. Let's meet up and let's be honest about this. We're all suffering. Like, how are we going to figure this out? We're all dealing with parallel challenges. Without the environment, healthy clients, how can any of us function? And so, and you can look outside of your peers, and well, okay, so it's a global it's a global financial problem. It's a systemic problem for everybody. So once you understand that, maybe you can find ways to network with your peers in such a way, like, well, how are we going to create like a mutual support system? Instead of just looking, how can we exploit each other? Like, I only need you when I need you, or you only ever call me when you need me. What about networking in such a way that how can we actually be more of a mutual support system? Can we share clients? Are there clients who would, from the CPA side, who would benefit from realty? Are there clients from the legal side who would benefit from realty? And so share and share alike. And so when you have happy, healthy clients, maybe you can steer them towards the attorneys and the CPAs who may be looking for clients, and so on, so that no one's a victim here. All right, I hope that makes sense. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. I got to check up on something. Bear with me. Hello, Faustina. I just want to check up on something here. I'm doing some housekeeping behind the scenes. Oh my God, my computer. Oh man. Okay, all right. We're still functional. From scratch. Okay, so it should be. Oh boy. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Jeepers, man. What the hell is happening? Oh, God. Stay with me, people, if you're still there. I'm having a lot of problems here. Very serious technical issues. Oh, man. Everything's okay out there. Okay, I have a lot of stuff that's crashing here. I don't see why. I have a powerful computer. Okay, let's have what are these notes? Let me just read your notes here, Faustina. So let me just wrap up. Let me just wrap up the reading here for Fluffles. Okay. All right, so Fluffles, I hope that helped you in some way, gave you a bit of insight that you might not have considered or examined before, or perspective, you know. I'm going to shuffle this up, clean it up later, okay? I have to talk about this in just a moment. Right now, I'm going to read the notes from Faustina. You're a victim of human sex trafficking. I know someone as well like that. A lot of children are screaming for help, and the adults are trauma state. Healing must be done without money. The afterlife is calling us home with clean hands, of course. So, dear Faustina, I have a dear friend. I've known her for years, many years now. And she had a similar experience to what you're describing. In fact, it's horrific. Some of the stuff that goes on is absolutely horrific. It makes my blood boil. And we're still very good friends. But the things that happen with your type of situation, they leave scars for life, trauma for life, well into adulthood. Some people recover, some people don't. And some children, I'm not really allowed to talk about children on my channel. My channel is specifically programmed to navigate outside and around children. Okay, so I don't really discuss children or anything here, but I understand. So if you Faustina, if you've had to deal with that stuff, I'm sorry for you. There are resources out there, but what country are you in? What city? What country? What city? It looks like you can speak and write English. I'd be very curious, because I have a couple of suggestions. But anyway, Faustina, thank you for visiting. If you want to, Faustina, in the future, I highly recommend you visit TarotLumination on my RUMBLE. That's the other platform, RUMBLE, where we can talk openly and freely, okay? I can't really do that here. I'm very sorry. Anyway, I want to share a story with you, and then we'll all go home and have a nice evening. So, you know, I've been going here for almost 8 years now. And it's been a bumpy ride. November 2018, things got destroyed. Never recovered. But the channel is still going. Some of you have stayed with me throughout all of it. I've lost a lot of viewers and subscribers and followers and subscriptions and memberships and Patreons. It's been a total loss in that regard. I used to earn my living. There's no living out of my TarotLumination YT platform anymore. So there's a lot of bitterness and anger in there. But I keep going. I try to look for the positive. So what I find very strange is that, as you know, I've been attacked quite a few times, especially around November 2018. I was constantly attacked by people saying I was doing the work of the DEVIL, and I was charged by YOUTUBE as guilty until proven innocent. And how can I prove myself innocent? All I did was make a statement, and they just said, you know what? No, that's not right. So anyway, just before all that stuff happened, my little channel was celebrated, and it was growing big and rapidly. I was regularly invited to the YouTube headquarters in Los Angeles because my little channel was regarded as special, needed to be celebrated. And so I loved it. I felt like I was part of some amazing phenomenon. And then later on to discover I was being trashed by the very platform where we are right now. And I've had a lot of contention over the years since that date of November 2018. And I've had a lot of strikes and demonetizations, deletions, warnings, blackouts, and everything. And a couple days ago, I got a letter from the YT people, and they said, hey, we think your channel is awesome. We think your content is amazing. We think you're special. We would like to invite you to enjoy and become a member of a small group of people who are working with you to help you grow your brand. And I kind of thought, okay, why don't I trust these people? Anyway, so I just wanted to share that. I find it very, very strange. Very, very confusing. It's like, you know, when you're in a very toxic relationship and someone comes up to you and says, oh, I love you so much. I love you so much. And you're my sweetheart. Okay? Yes, again. Necessary. Yes, again. So I love you, my dear. You're my absolute sweet, charming, my lovey-dove, my love bug. I think you're my most adorable, wonderful thing. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I beat the crap out of you the other night. It was just like, see, the thing is, I love you very much, but when you step out of line and you do things that I don't like, who's going to put you in line? No one else. So I have to do it. I'm sorry. Just please wear makeup, cover your eyes and face or something, or stay home for the next week or so, and you'll be just fine. I love you. Okay? That's an example of what's going on right now with the extremely hyper-toxic polarity, with the Libra-Aries opposition. So some of you might be aware of those type of relationship dynamics. And that's sort of what we're seeing across the world. There are a small handful of very, 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 very powerful, extremely powerful, wealthy people who are constantly giving you these messages. We love you. We're here to save you. We're here to take care of you. However, if you misbehave, we're going to destroy you. So you might as well behave according to our dictates. Okay? I love you. I love you very, very much. Okay, anyway. So on that very strange ending, let's wrap it up tonight. I'm going to just play a little bit of music. We can say goodnight and goodbye. And again, please visit TarotLumination on RUMBLE. Please subscribe, be a member, be a join, however it is, get your notifications. I don't know. I haven't even got started learning about how all that works yet, but I have to. I will learn because I have to. So in the meantime, have a super weekend. Enjoy the eclipse. I'll be doing videos hopefully all week long to get us through it. Thank you for your kindness and generosity. And we'll do this all again. Nighty night, everybody. We'll see. All right.